What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Antonius the Gamer here. Now, as of this recording, Sony just wrapped up their September State of Play, and after 4 years, we finally got to see some more of Insomniac's Wolverine game. Now, I did give my initial reaction during the State of Play. I apologize again for the technical issues, but I figured we'd go into more detail about what they've shown so far, some of my thoughts, some of my theories, and some of the things that I think could be better. Let's check it out.
The question that comes up a lot to us at Insomniac Games is, are you going to make a Wolverine game that is as violent, as visceral as the character in the comics?
What he meant to say was, are you going to release a Wolverine game that you want to have any chance of being successful? Because I can tell you right now, a Wolverine game without violence, if we don't get the spirit, and I know Insomniac knows better, obviously, but it's like if you don't get the spirit of X-Men Wolverine Origins, just keep it. If Wolverine's knocking people out or just taking down inanimate robots with his claws, just keep it. Keep the Sentinel robot, yada, yada, yada. And there we go. This is how you sell your game. Take notes.
Working with Wolverine is interesting because part of the root to who he is that he's an unreliable narrator. He has gaps in his memory.
Now, the reason why I think they said that is because I think it's going to be an amnesia storytelling when it comes to the story mode. I don't think we're getting an open world. I don't think we need an open world for this game. I mean, some hubs would be nice, but we don't need open world Wolverine. I think a level-based story is probably the best way to go. 10 to 12 hour experience, maybe 13 to 15, depending on how much story they feel like they have to tell. Just with really tight set pieces, really good storytelling and pacing is going to be good. I just think he said the unreliable narrator because it's going to justify why the story takes place all over the world, right? Not getting too much into the leaks, but it makes sense. Like if you want to tell, let's just say like Wolverine reminiscing on how he got to the present day climax of the game. It's like, yeah, you can put him in this country, this place, that place, and it's not going to feel disjointed because we're piecing together the memory to get to whatever the climax might be. Also, I guess from the being a little bit nitpicky, I'm not super crazy about his default costume. It kind of just feels like after Wolverine and Deadpool made $1 billion at the box office, Marvel called him something like, yo, this is going to be the default costume. I know you guys had your own thing for Spider-Man. Love what you did with the costume, by the way, but this is what we're defaulting to. So go ahead and make that change. Not mad at it. It just feels like the movie costume.
So Wolverine doesn't really remember a lot of his life, and that's got to be an extremely frustrating aspect.
He's this ball of rage and fury, but then he could turn on a dime, and he could be very, very kind and tender in the next moment.
When we're casting for someone like Logan, what we're looking for in character traits are someone who can convey a lot with very little being spoken.
When you have that first moment that we show in...
Sounds like almost every casting call I go on. Like, we're looking for this, but it's going to be very vague. But we just need that. It's like, all right, I got my audition ready. Thanks for all the clarification.
gameplay, there's so much emotion that you can feel behind his eyes. He looks relentless, he looks gritty, he looks angry, but also he looks maybe a little sad.
That level of acting and being able to just deliver that performance with believability across both spectrums was something Insomniac, ourselves, we all agreed he's the one. We don't need to see anybody else.
Hey, I'm Liam McIntyre.
So for those who don't know, and I said this during my initial reaction, as soon as I saw that like snarl that Wolverine was making with his face, I'm like, yo, he kind of looks like the guy who played Spartacus. And lo and behold, Liam McIntyre. Now, for those who don't know, real quick history lesson, he actually replaced the original guy who played Spartacus. I believe, sadly, the original actor for Spartacus passed from cancer or something cancer related. And Liam McIntyre is a good actor. I am on the side of I think he did a perfectly fine job as Spartacus, and there was never a time during the show where I felt like his acting wasn't up to par. So I'm not mad at him being picked for Wolverine. What I do have issues with, I'll get into in just a second.
And I played James Logan Howlett in Marvel's Wolverine.
Perfect.
That's not bad. That one sort of works. Fans out there know what Wolverine is, who he is. My job is to try and find the essence of who Wolverine is, especially as he applies to our story. People hurt him, people take from him, people betray him. He still fights for people who
This
can't fight
mocap
for
is going to play a
themselves.
part in my
It's
opinion.
one of the greatest honors of my life, one of the biggest responsibilities I've ever had, and one of the coolest things I've ever got to do.
The entire game is built around staying true to the Wolverine experience.
And then how do we want to put our Insomniac stamp on that? How do we want to put our own spin and creativity, but still give something new and fresh the fans are going to be excited about?
It's the
So, right at this shot, again, the snarl, right? See if I can get let's see if my video will work with me. Doesn't look like it wants to. When I saw the snarl on his face, there we go. I'm like, yo, I think this is one of the dangerous things when it comes for the hyper-realism when it comes in games. Like, I think we've kind of gotten to the point of when you compare this, for example, to Insomniac Spider-Man, right? Yuri Lowenthal's portrayal of Peter Parker does not play a part in his depiction of Peter Parker. So what I mean is both versions of Insomniac's Peter Parker, the PS4 version and then the next gen remake and do-over that he had, neither one of those faces look like Yuri Lowenthal. I mean, you could probably make an argument that Miles's mocap and voice actor kind of has somewhat of a resemblance to him, but there's some wiggle room there. With Wolverine, because it's so ultra realistic, we're blurring the lines between a video game universe and what could pass as a cinematic universe. At a glance, as I'm seeing Wolverine in all these different shots, I'm like, this is Liam McIntyre with a beard and the trademark Wolverine hairstyle. Again, it's not a knock to him. It's just I'm like, even when they did blanking on his name, but the guy who is the main character in Death Stranding, it's like it's literally just him. He's not playing Norman Reedus. It's like it's Norman Reedus as Norman Reedus' face in a different character. You know, it's a trend that I think needs to change quickly in video games. I don't want to see a world where it's just, hey, I know that face. Hey, I know that celebrity. Like, let me still be surprised. Let us still be surprised of some of the casting choices you make. And, you know, go back to or allow room for stylized graphics. Not everything needs to be super detailed, in my opinion.
It's the full package. It is a level of detail that we've never been able to do before.
You could see it in the trailer. You can see poor.
Like, this is Liam. This is. There's a part of me of like, there will be a story of like, yeah, I was watching Spartacus while I was working on brainstorming the game and saw Liam. And I was like, that's our guy.
You can see blood in between the little lines of his teeth.
Okay. Quick thought on that. Going back to the hyper-realism. She triggered me a little bit when she said that.
See it in the trailer. You can see pores.
You can see pores.
Blood in between the
You can
little
see blood
lines
in
of
his
his
teeth. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a video game. And respect to her. I'm not saying this in a way to be disrespectful to her, but we don't care about the pores. I've never thought to myself, yo, what's going to sell me this day one is if I could see a hyper-realistic Wolverine in this video game. Let's continue.
I love the attention to detail.
It's exciting that we're going to be able to bring that kind of fidelity to players.
It's a character who goes places through the comics.
You'll see the
having this issue
Canadian
with
wilderness.
video.
You'll see Japan.
There's a shot where Logan is sliding down that rooftop, and you can see the breadth of for in Lowtown.
It's always nice.
Now, I do think the little shot of the motorcycle, I don't think it'll be entirely a cinematic scene. I think that's like a hint that if they do end up doing like a bit of a hub, you'll be able to kind of traverse a little more quickly on his motorcycle, because what is Wolverine without his bike?
Teasing the depth and amount of characters that we'll be seeing in the game. Omega Red makes an Mystique is there, and there are some hints to other characters that fans of Wolverine will recognize.
Thing about this is I kind of wish that the leak, for a lot of reasons, obviously, especially for the employees, but I kind of wish the leak never happened, because it would have made the reveal of these characters hit just a little bit harder. But at the same time, there's also the aspect of like, I feel like when there's a Wolverine story, there's so many of the usual suspects of like, oh, Mega Red, like him, but of course, right? It's like, oh, Mystique, of course. I will imagine Sabretooth might show up, right? There's certain things of like, hopefully we don't see Deadpool, you know, because it's just like, you don't want to hit the same beats every single time when it comes to Wolverine's story. Although I guess it depends on how it's handled. Now, what I will say, depending on what they want to do with this story and what canonical events they want to include, I wouldn't mind having a boss fight against the Hulk. Just me.
Nice for sure.
Another visual element of Marvel's Wolverine is the blood. The blood tech that was put into this game is pretty phenomenal.
There's a part in the trailer where Logan jumps down and then he does the claws up through the face. That one I thought maybe was going to be taking it too far, but I am so glad that we have it. It looks fantastic.
Take it further. We need
Wolverine's
that.
combat, making that special,
We need dismember
making it feel
mechanics
like
as well,
him,
if we're
making it
being
feel
for real.
different to anything else you've played. That's a tough job. What's so cool for me is there was this one section of the game I got to try. It was just
Now, what's funny about this combat is, and again, for the sake of being nitpicky, I think that Insomniac does a good, not great job when it comes to combat. Spider-Man being a prime example. There's certain things of like, it's like the essence is there, but some of the, how can I put it? Some of the things that make it have that visual impact like you would see in like an Arkham game, just it's not quite there. Like every game they're obviously getting better. You can kind of see the leap between combat skills between Spider-Man to Miles Morales to Spider-Man 2. But with Wolverine, right? And bring it back a little bit. As soon as it starts, he does like this lunge forward. That's kind of similar to what Spider-Man does, where it's like if you look at Spider-Man's startup combo, it's always like this lunge forward punch. And I know it's obviously supposed to mimic the free flow combat system. I get that aspect, but it's just like you see it's like, yeah, that's an Insomniac combat mechanic for sure.
to try. It was just visceral, immediate, and so incredibly satisfying. And I was like, this is gonna be amazing.
We're pretty excited about the artwork that we're using on the cover. It's dynamic, it's rough-edged.
You notice it doesn't look like our past games. It has a sense of urgency and forward.
Now, to be fair, yes, this is a sketch cover as opposed to your usual 3D render, but it does look like your other covers. It's kind of the same thing, but I'm not mad at that. I like the color scheme when it comes to their Marvel games. I don't mind the red for Spider-Man, the yellow for Wolverine. Who knows what else they might get their hands on. I like it. It's just when he's like, it's a different, we went for something different. It's like, so you drew it instead of throwing a render on there. I mean, yeah.
Movement and rage and fury, and that's Wolverine.
One of the cool things about Insomniac is they are probably the most collaborative group of people I have ever worked with. They make you feel part of their team. That's not something you always get.
We've been in a creative collaboration with Insomniac Games and PlayStation for over a decade now. We've made some of the greatest superhero games of all time, and that was always the goal, making games that are timeless.
I think fans are going to be excited, but I'm also really excited about it because I'm really proud of what we made. We're focused on making the best Wolverine game ever.
On behalf of everyone at Insomniac Games and the Wolverine team especially, we want to thank you for taking time to watch our trailer. We can't wait to show you more in spring of 2026.
Ooh. I mean, like when you hear those dates of like spring of 2026, fall of 2026. Now, granted, I'm glad we have a timetable of some sort. I think that was a smart choice as opposed to saying coming soon, given how long it's been between updates or since the last update. But you can feel all these announcements and dates. You can feel the hand on your shoulder of like, yo, Grand Theft Auto 6 coming, so you better get out the way. Like if it's coming in May and this game isn't ready for February, yeah, go ahead and try to take a fall slot because Wolverine, Spider-Man, the Avengers is not gonna outsell Grand Theft Auto. But yeah, these are just my thoughts. Wasn't expecting it to be much longer than the video, but here we are. But I want to know your guys' thoughts. Let me know. Is this a game that Have they drummed back up any excitement for you guys? For one, I'm glad that they kind of shut down some of the unnecessary and like ludicrous critiques about the alpha footage that leaked. Like, it's called alpha footage for a reason, guys. There's no way that was going to be the final product. And you can tell from just the little bit of gameplay we have, like, yeah, it's not going to be what we saw. Obviously, the skeletons of it is there, but there's been a lot more work put into it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Till next time, peace.